listening to Lovers Rock on Cheesetown Radio.
Back. It's your boy Capo.
It's your girl Someone. The fundraiser, baby.
Are y'all gonna introduce yourself? I mean, y'all part of the show.
He eating.
I mean, Mike is excused right now because he's feeling his face.
You saw that, right?
Good times from that piece of pizza, though.
It's Christy Kieschnick with Generation Next, and I got my man over there, Mr. Mike, and Manny.
He got a good piece of pizza.
Mike E.
Extra sauce.
Mike E. I'm here. Glad to be here. And the food is amazing.
Mr. Manny Pierre.
I ain't got no mic, but I'm here though.
Oh, they can hear you. They can hear you, trust me.
You ready?
Hey, I really appreciate y'all taking time out y'all schedule to come
We
through
appreciate you having us, man.
and talk to us. Hey, look, tell us about this Generation Next. That's what I want to know about.
All right, well, Generation Next is really, I started it. It's a record company. You know what I mean? I started it because I wanted to like make something. Growing up here in Virginia and working with Teddy and being a part of the whole movement of the early music scene in Virginia with Pharrell, Tim, and you know, just everybody, Missy, Chad, of course. It just felt like there's so much talent here, but there's really no platforms or organized. Everybody kind of does their own thing. Like back then, it was like a group of people, but it was a movement. Even though they were working with Devontae and Jodeci, and I was working with Ted and Pharrell and Chad were doing their thing, it still was, everybody was together in a sense. So I just wanted to formulate a record company or a hub and offer my experience as a musician to bring other people on board, man. And as well, also just, I started, you know, with my project, of course, and just putting my music back out there and really just branding VA, man. You know, 757, I should say. I don't want to say VA because it's a broad spectrum, but 757, I felt, man, it just needs, I still feel it just needs to come together to do some things. So that's what Generation Next is, and not just for us. I want to build something so that my son's generation and the next one and the next one, they can all kind of take that formula and already have something built. Whereas most people, you know nothing against them, but that was just a decision when they got on and got rich or whatever, or got successful, they just moved away and they, you know, really look back. So I just wanted to do something where it could be something here for the people.
Let's go back a little bit, making everybody that's tuned in right now familiar. Mr. Mike Etheridge is one of the original members of the Neptunes. Not only he's one of the original members of the Neptunes, but he has also written music for 7-time Grammy award-winning group Blackstreet.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little tidbit about your journey.
Oh man.
And bring us to Generation Next right now.
Okay. Well, the journey began literally in Princess Anne High School, which was where me and Pharrell were in the band together. So we got cool. And then, you know, Pharrell and Chad met early on in like a gifted school. So Chad House became the studio before there was a studio. We would go there and make music. Chad was Filipino, of course, so his parents, you know, they had him in piano early. So he was a musician and he had all the equipment and everything. So we would just go over there and write, you know, make music. We had like a little group. It was me, Pharrell, Chad, and Shay. Shay was like the dancer back then.
Yeah, shout out to Shay.
Yeah, he was a dancer, so he was dancing. It was me, you know, I was singing, and Pharrell was rapping, and Chad was the musician. So that's how it really started. You know, it was just kind of all over the place. Everybody had their different things they did. So Pharrell would like bring me songs during the, you know, during the day at school, at lunch. Back then I wasn't really writing as much. I was just kind of singing. So, because I was younger than Pharrell.
Right.
So he was kind of like my big brother in that sense. And, you know, that's just how it was. And then, you know, when Teddy built his studio over there, it was like, yo, we got to get in there. So we go over there every day after school, knock on the door, security kick us out, you know what I mean? Like, what y'all doing here, y'all kids? We go over there with our book bags, come home late, and sit out there all night. I mean, we would sit out there for hours at a time, and they just be like, and we didn't get in today. You know what I mean? But it was just like kids from Virginia. We never seen no Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and you know what I mean. It was just like, man, these guys. You know, he got it. So that's what it was. And finally, one day we got in. He was like, "Let me hear what y'all got." Cause Omar Chandler, shout out, he's passed away. Rest in peace. That sung Joy and Pain on Rob Bass record. He was like Teddy's brother-in-law. So he kind of took an interest in us and introduced us, and we sung for him, and they liked us, and those kids are dope. So he threw a talent show over at Princess Anne High School. We won the talent show, so he offered, you know, our little section of group a deal, just to, you know, develop us and, you know, kids, and he wanted to, you know, just invest in our talent. So that's how that went, man. And of course, Pharrell, you know, he had a bigger vision of himself as a producer and different things. So, but me, I was a singer from the church. That's what I did. You know, I sung. So, you know, being around Dave Hollister and like Joe Stonestreet, who was the original member of Blackstreet, which he sung on Baby Be Mine, the first record. But then Dave came in, but he was like the dopest singer probably that I ever encountered, next to like Stevie Wonder or something. So he was a big inspiration for me. Chauncey, of course, and Levi too as well. So I was bred in an environment to learn. Ted was the master at R&B with God and all that. So it was just like, man, it was like a playground for me, because I got to learn how to do things vocally and sing in the studio, which is very different than singing in church per se. But he knew I had the pipes, and he knew I had the swag at the time. So it was just like, it was a marriage. So, you know, to kind of go to another part, Pharrell and them wanted to do their thing. I stayed with Ted because it was a whole lot of money. I really was the first person with a record deal, you know what I mean? So at 16, if you're getting $5,000, you're like, oh, I'm staying here.
So let me stop you right quick.
Yeah.
Let me stop you right quick. At what point were y'all the Neptunes?
We were the Neptunes.
Up until you.
Well, first we were the Building Children. Let's get that straight.
Yo,
BBC. We were the Building Children. And then we was something else. Pharrell would come up with crazy stuff. But then the Neptunes, I guess he figured Virginia Beach, the water, I don't know. You know, he had a fetish for like mystical and mythology. So it was like, okay, we the Neptunes. So he made a lot of songs about water.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? We had a song called The Wet, Wet, Wet in your cup, cup, cup. So that we did it at the talent show, came out with the water guns. That's how that was. But yeah, so we were the Neptunes for a long time before there was the Neptunes.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man, we were Neptunes for a minute.
So y'all was the Neptunes up until the point where you started working with Teddy Riley.
Right, and they branched off. Now Chad and I, see, that's the thing. But me and Chad still stayed. Chad still was working with me. So Chad and I produced my whole album together. And you know, that's how that went. And I started writing then. So I didn't really know it then, but I guess it was all in God's plan for me to start developing as a writer too. So that's how that went.
So how did you get the opportunity to start writing for Blackstreet?
Well, just being there, and I had a deal. Ted was with Interscope Records, and they pretty much, you know, they sold 7 million records, and Jimmy Iovine, you know, this was when CDs were being sold. So you got to think the money was different. It was a whole different thing. Like, labels weren't reluctant to throw you $500,000 for a deal for an artist that may not even have been out yet, if the producer was known. So that's how that was, and that's how I started writing for Blackstreet, because of course they were the priority. So I'm like, you know, if I'm working on my stuff, let me get on this record, and that's just how that went. You know what I'm saying? And he liked, you know, of course he would like some of the records that I did for myself and be like, what you think about doing that for Blackstreet? So that's how that went. And I was cool with it because we were like family, man.
Now I have a song called New Life,
Mm-hmm.
which features No Malice.
Yep.
Shout out to No Malice.
Yeah.
Pusha T.
Yep.
Clips. How did
New Life come about?
Well, no. How did you the Clips
Fit into
Malice?
this?
How did all of that come?
Actually, I knew them before there was Eclipse. It was Terra, which was Terrence.
Terrence.
And Gene was, I think he was always Malice, but Terrence actually, well, I'll say Pusha T since he's known by that. But
Right.
yeah, that's he actually wrote a song, a rap for a girl for me for my album. That was his first experience in the studio. Was at Future with me, and he was like, I was like, yeah, man, right. He came in the studio, wrote it for us, and so that's how and we all hung out. Me and Gene had a different relationship because, like, you know, we used to hang out, smoke weed, and chill. Like, that was just my man. You know what I'm saying? I would go to the weed spot. He was particularly, I can talk about it now, but that he ran. You know what I'm saying? So me and him, he was always like the big brother though. He was very quiet, didn't say much. You know what I'm saying? So me and him always had that bond of just laughing and joking, and you know what I'm saying, and being friends. So that's how the Clips, we just were friends.
So how did this song New Life come about?
Well, New Life came later, because after I had my deal with Interscope Capital, at that point, man, I got saved and my life changed. I had a kid and I started, you know, just thinking family. My whole life just changed, man, and I knew certain things just weren't for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Just the way that I was brought up and the way that I was raised, it just didn't mesh with that well. You know what I'm saying? So, and then it was fun and had great experiences. I was doing shows with like Jagged Edge, Jay Shin, Genuine at that time.
Right.
But I remember just being in the limo one day and I knew like this ain't for me, man. Like I just knew. I kind of like broke down and cried, and I was just like, man, I can't do this no more unless I could do it the way I want to. So, you know, at that point I kind of just had a bad taste in music because the deals went bad, and even though I got another deal later and a publishing deal and all that, it still just wasn't right. It wasn't my time, you know what I mean? And it wasn't what the music that was in me to create. So later, man, I took a lot of time off and just, you know, I kind of didn't want to do music because I was salty with it. Like, music is negative to me. You know what I mean? So, but then after a few years, man, it was like God kind of just retouched me, I guess you could say, re-released me to do music again. It was like, and then next thing I know, I didn't realize I had learned so much from absorbing with Teddy and being in that environment. Now I'm producing. So I didn't realize how much I learned and how much the abilities that I had, because I was so busy into the women and all the things that, you know, just, man, money. I got money, man. You know what I'm saying? Back then, that's what it was. So, you know, once I did that, that's when, actually, Gene, No Malice, was the catalyst to bringing me back into the game. Because when he did his album, Hear Ye Him, he called me one day and was like, man, I was praying, the Lord told me to call Mike. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, it's something we're supposed to do together. Next thing I know, I produced a song for his album. And I had a young, that's when I started working on my project. And that's when New Life came about. As far as specifically New Life was a song that I heard the track from a friend of mine in New Jersey, Aaron Washington Cream, shout out to him. And I just, when I cut the track on, I wrote the song in 5 minutes, like it was already in me. And I just started flipping it. Everybody want to blow up, but nobody want to suffer. So it was like perfect. It was hip hop, R&B vibes. So I was, next thing I know, I was like, I gotta get No Malice on this. He came, laid it, and that was it. You know what I mean? Yep. And we, to this day, we talk pretty much every day, man. We just build and, you know, keep each other encouraged, because it's, you know, it's hard to do what we do, you know what I mean, and when everybody else is doing something else. And I mean, at the end of the day, all music is, like, when you listen to my music, I don't even like to call it gospel music, because when you hear Better Than Blessed, you don't think it's a gospel record, you know what I mean? And when you hear Virtuous, not necessarily, you don't think it's a gospel record. There's a lot of songs on the album that aren't typical gospel music. They're just an expression of all of the musical influences that I've had, which have been soul, they've been, you know, pop, they've been everything, you know. So from Barbra Streisand to Barry Manilow to Hall & Oates to Stevie Wonder to, you know what I mean, just different artists. So when you hear the music, that's what you're gonna get, and you're gonna also get, but the content you're gonna get, because I think you put out whatever's in your spirit, you know what I mean. So you're gonna get that. Yeah, you'll get. You're not gonna hear me talking about, you know, shooting nobody or killing nobody. That ain't in my spirit no more. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a part of that life. You know what I mean? But now it's just I just can only talk about what is real to me.
Present day.
Yeah.
Present day.
Yeah.
Generation Next.
Generation Next, man.
How did Miss Kieschnick, did I say it right?
You did.
And Mr. Manny,
Well,
Pierre, how did they come up?
Well, Manny, let me tell you the story about Manny. Because I came to Manny, I put on a talent show at a church, and all these artists came. He was an artist in the talent show.
You say he was?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was an artist. And we, you know, the talent show was over, but we stayed in contact. And then one day we kind of just said, let's link up and meet. And we did. And I had tracks on my phone that I had produced, but nothing was written. This was all a vision, man. This is what I want to do. This is the company, Generation Next, blah, blah, blah. and we sat in the car for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, man. And from that day forward, we ain't never left each other's side, man. He been there, you know what I'm saying, and just helped me. Manny's a very great. He thinks differently than me. I'm more musical. He's more of a thinker when it comes to the business and how, you know, those kinds of things. So it just worked well, and he helped establish my company, incorporated, and all the things that I needed to do to be, you know, right on the business end. So and we just been together, man. He's my partner, you know what I'm saying? So, and as far as Christy, well, I went to school with Christy. She was a part of. Christy witnessed everything I talked about in Princess Anne. Yeah, she was friends with everybody. So, yeah, and so when I did the Comfest event this summer, we had already been talking because she was doing the no coverage with Jocelyn and everything. But I just saw her ability to manage things and her ability to like multitask and get things done. So that's when I was like, man, look, we need to just link and we get in where you fit in and let's rock, you know what I mean? So that's how me and her, we linked up, and it's just been a great thing. Small team, but selected good people. I'll let her tell you more. Maybe she can add to that.
No, he called me. I was in Japan working,
doing
whatever I was doing.
He
said, hey, I need you to do this. And we was working on a 6-hour difference in time zone, but I was up at 3 a.m. calling him, calling people, getting sponsors.
Yeah.
Manny, he was my backbone. So we made it work. He gave me a timeline of probably, how many weeks did we have, Manny?
Yeah, like 6 weeks.
Yeah, to put together 32 artists, a bunch of vendors, and a bunch of sponsors, and a bunch of food to feed all of Norfolk.
She got that thing
in the
done.
local area done. We did it.
She got that thing done, and it won't nothing. You know, it was like the first year, so we were like, wow, we got something here that is an extension of the brand. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're a visionary.
Mm-hmm.
With you being a visionary, is it hard to work with people
Yeah.
without, let me explain this.
Micromanaging?
No. By you being a visionary, is it hard to work with people as far as the frustration if they don't see what you see?
Mm-hmm.
You see it right now,
Mm-hmm.
but after it has came into fruition,
Mm-hmm.
then they see it. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, I think any great leader has to have the ability to see it, and then you have to have the ability to articulate it to those that are working with you. Because it's a scripture, I ain't going to preach,
Go ahead and
but
say it. Go ahead.
it says that to write the vision down and make it plain, that others may see it and run. Most people not going to run with something that they don't know what they're running with. So at the end of the day, I had to make sure, and I think Manny was easy because he helped to birth the vision with me. So every step of the way, we were talking every day, like as far as Generation Next and what it would become. And then when Chrissy came on board, she added another element because she thinks totally different than either one of us. So, you know, it's not hard. It's just you have to be. And then if they don't see it, you have to be willing to say, well, I see it, and keep moving, and this is what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, Mike, you approached me. Remember, you approached me with the whole, Christy, I think this is right because you have a passion. It's a passion. If you see a passion in somebody and they have a passion for what you do, you want to bring those people on board because it's not about riding with you. It's not about playing on your coattails. It's not about your status. I have a passion for what he does. I have a passion for the music. Not Mike, but a passion for what he's doing. So our purpose is going to be in tune.
I always say this. There's a difference in passion and love. You can love something and be passionate about something. It's not the same thing.
True. That's very true.
You're not gonna love something that you're passionate about. If you can happen to intertwine the two, I think that's the best thing ever. But it's very rare you can be passionate and
I
love.
think passion and faith are synonymous because passion and faith are what keeps you going when ain't nothing happening.
Exactly.
You know, when you don't see the results. And I'm sure you guys know with a radio show and just doing different things, like, you know, there's those times where you don't really see the
fruits of our labor.
There you go, the fruits of your labor. So the passion is what keeps you going in the times when you don't know how, you know what I mean? But you know it will happen, you know what I'm saying? So you got to keep going, and that's what's good about having passionate people because they're like, I got a passion for this. A passion means I don't have to get a paycheck right now. but I'm still gonna put it in the work like I'm getting one.
You have a free lunch podcast shirt on. I mean,
Hat,
on.
you know, I wore this because they sent it to me, and I wanted to wear it and just be, you know, this is what I told her on the way here. Like like you guys, I'm gonna be all over Facebook, I'm gonna be all over everywhere. I just believe in supporting people, man, because they're, you know, no matter what level they're on, because we're all trying to get somewhere.
Right.
And you never know, you know, who's gonna be somewhere that you need that person, or that person can open a door for you, man. A lot of people, they just like, oh, I ain't doing that, oh, they ain't, you know. Especially I see a lot of new artists, they want that big shot. Like, I've been there, done that, got a t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? So for now, for me to be grinding, I love it, because I like to see other people grinding. You know what I mean?
Real quick, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the love in VA? And when I mean love in VA, I'm talking about strictly from a business standpoint and an artist standpoint.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think, man? The love in VA is not... The love in VA, you mean as far as the people embracing the artists, or just amongst artists?
All together.
I think the problem with VA is just there's the lack of opportunity. And whenever there's a lack of opportunity, then there's going to be infighting. Because everybody wants to be the one. Because they're like, I'm going to be next, so I got to step on you. No, you ain't coming up before me, so let me kick you down. Or, no, my show, let me do this, let me do that. It's about our movement. But because there's a lack of opportunity. When there's opportunity, you don't see that. You never see that with Pharrell, Tim, and us back in the day, because there was opportunity. So it was never... Yeah, it was an open market.
The future.
The future is getting out good music, man. That's really the future, getting out good music and being a blessing to the community. That's the other piece of Generation Next too. It's putting on events that can help the young people, man, and the young guys. And we want to just do things to be more than just a record company, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it seems like sometimes you just have to get in that position to be a blessing. You know what I'm saying? That's when doors start opening, when you stop thinking about just you.
Exactly.
One question though. Do you think the reason why it's not so many opportunities in Virginia is because we don't actually have a sound? Because you notice we don't have a sound. You know, you could go from state to state, and each state has a particular sound.
Yeah.
We don't have a sound. So
Yeah.
do you think the lack of opportunity is because no producer or no big time company can say, hey, we need this type of sound for this album, or we need this type of sound for this movie. Let's go to Virginia.
Where's that platform? Where is that label? Do we really have a label in the area that's willing to put these people and these independent artists out there to be heard? Give us the exposure. Where is that?
That has made it different.
Yes,
because
yes.
now...
Very cutthroat.
Because, you know, and just too, you know, a person can wake up in the morning, get a blue mic and a computer, and now I'm an artist.
And get signed.
Right. So at the end of the day, it's like you got a oversaturated market, so you have to pick through all of this garbage that's in your feed and songs that you're like, I can't believe they made that record. But it's still there. You know what I'm saying? So people are having a hard time differentiating between good music and just somebody that's doing this. And I think too that goes back when Ted's day, and just that era, I should say. I won't say Ted's day, but that era, it was the artist development that went on. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it was years before I even dropped a record where I was able to go be with a dance coach, or, you know, a media coach, or sit under Ted and know how to cut my vocals. You know what I mean? These guys, they ain't did that, but they think they're doing it right. So when I hear it, I'm like, that ain't right, but they think it's right. So I think and nobody wants to listen. So I think that that's a big problem with Virginia, man. And again, I say too, I still think it's a lack of opportunity. Because again, if we had labels here or situations here where somebody got on, that's only going to inspire the next person to be like, I can make it too. But when it's like almost like a dead end road, there's a way.
That is true.
There is.
And when there's bread on the table, it changes a lot of things. I mean, but at the end of the day, I think, you know, you have to explore other places. It's not about not doing nothing nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? But I think, man, there's just more that could be done. You know, Ted wasn't from Virginia, but he gave Virginians a lot of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? He opened up his studio. He had the plug, man. If you got the plug, he had the plug. Jimmy Iovine was the plug. Sending that money down the pipeline, I was eating off of
that guy money, baby.
Yeah, I was eating off of that for years. But the guy money wasn't nothing compared to that.
Oh no,
Black
that
Sheep
independent,
money.
yeah, that Black Sheep money.
That whole Future Records.
That guy money.
You know what I mean? That time in life, right? So I think the people that got that opportunity should have pump something back, you know what I'm saying, into the community, and created an opportunity for those that did music, the same thing that got you out of here.
What does Generation Next have coming up? Any events?
Well, we got Comp Fest of next year coming up. My album is out right now. The project is out. We want everybody to everybody go get that new life. You know, it's out right now. And I got other artists.
New life. I got a new life. New life. I got a new